Good morning. Good afternoon. And good evening. Are you ready for today? Welcome back. I'm glad to see that you guys like it already. Did you get enough sleep? Good. I did sleep pretty well. A little bit anxious because I was very excited for today. Admittedly, I worked very hard last week trying to handpick some of the most disturbing SCPs I could find. I wanted it to be brutal this week. Now, usually we do SCP readings on Monday, but last week we had a little bit of a fruit problem. So after this week, we will resume ASMR on Mondays. So you guys get very special treatment today, as this is abnormal. I'd like to thank the gifted subs this morning, by the way. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Sometimes I'm not always at the computer, so I miss it. I want to just do a quick check that everything sounds exactly how you want. And Cheesy, thank you so much. Happy 1-year anniversary. Yes, as I just finished saying, if your ears were open, this will resume on Monday, and the only reason why we're doing it today is because Monday I was busy with fruits. I didn't want to skip any week of SCPs. Do you need me to repeat that? Or were you listening this time? Good. Any last ask questions. Elevator Doors, very interesting name. So welcome back. I wouldn't quite say that's a 1-year anniversary because usually 1 year indicates 12 months, but that's 13. That's okay. Well, welcome. Because you missed it, I will tell you happy anniversary. Elevator Doors, I don't think I've ever seen you say anything. So I do appreciate you being such a long time supporter. Thank you. Clucks, 29 months. Good, I'm glad that you're comfy. That is extremely disturbing first-time chatter. Coming in strong with that one, aren't you? Interesting. Gaia Online 2006. That'll do it. I'm going to turn on some of the repeating commands. One moment. I'm very excited for today. I think this weekend is going to be a bit of a double whammy. You guys loved the SCP ASMR, and you guys love nonfiction. Believe it or not, tomorrow we have a brand new nonfiction to unveil. Sleepless, thank you so much for subscribing 3 months in advance. That was very kind of you. Ancient, thank you so much for the bits. I appreciate it. Yes, tomorrow there will be unfiction at 11 a.m. PST, the usual start time. I will say, as far as today is concerned, I have 9 SCPs lined up. I cannot promise that we will read through all of them, but I'm going to try. I don't know how long or short that will be, but I guarantee you it won't be short. Some of them are about 30 minutes long. And I promised you a very long day today. So please, get comfortable. I know for a lot of you it's still midday, so it can't be too creepy, I suppose. Thank you, Edie. Any last words? I would love to do horror audiobooks. That sounds like fun. Can we take it out of slow mode, by the way? I think that's completely unnecessary at the minute. Thank you. Hi. didn't miss anything. We're just chatting a little bit before we begin. Hi. You guys are so cute. I was looking for some sort of background sound that wasn't just the music this morning, and I found heartbeats. And I noticed that some different patterns of heartbeats made me want to gag. Isn't that strange? So Vrail Roll, welcome back for 5 months. BPMs. Yes, I will be doing Sekiro, not next week, but most likely the following. Which SCP? That's a wonderful question. If you type "what SCPs," your question will be answered. I do think I forgot to delete one of them, so don't mind that. As we have a very, very busy week this coming week. Monday we will be playing Backrooms on Dreams. I played a little bit of it this weekend and it was wonderful. Tuesday will be the horror Minecraft mod with a tomato. Wednesday I will be taking off. Thursday is Super Normal, a brand new paranormal horror game that uses your mic with Numi. Friday is Outlast Trials with Strippin' Gmart Tomato. I forgot the rest. Hold on. Saturday is Blood Omen 2 using the PSX model, so we're gonna welcome her back. And Sunday is Hollow Knight. It's gonna be a really fun week, I think. Very good lineup, I think. Well, are we ready to begin? There's a few new things I'll be trying out, so if I mess up, please be patient. Welcome to our first SCP of the evening. SCP-783. There lived a crooked man who made a crooked deal. He kept a crooked cane and his catch in crooked creel. He stole a crooked child who cried a crooked squeal, and that crooked little man was broken on the wheel. The rhyme on SCP-783. SCP-783, also known as There Was a Crooked Man, or simply The Crooked Man, is an antagonist in the SCP Foundation series. The entity is completely unseen, and the only visual element of its presence is the twisted, broken, elongated form of other people and buildings the entity has interacted with. SCP-783's crimes are done solely in Tembley, England. Exploring a mass grave full of elongated bodies has shown that SCP-783 controls or simply resides in another parallel world. SCP-783 is a completely unseen entity, though due to the aforementioned nursery rhyme and state of SCP's victims, it is very possible that SCP-783 is a man with a broken and elongated body. It stalks its victims in Tembe by making its victims' bodies' bones break and bend in unrealistic ways, as pulling their limbs out, leaving them permanently elongated and disfigured while still alive. After the victims are disfigured, the cartilage will quickly heal, locking them in their deformed and twisted states. The agony of this process will usually leave the victim in a comatose or vegetative state if they aren't already killed. The anomalous effects of SCP-783 can extend to even simple reports documented about it, with this being seen as text becoming jagged and misaligned. A mass grave was discovered full of SCP-783's deformed victims, where an SCP researcher fell in and sank in the bodies. A D-class was later assigned to enter the grave to find the missing researcher, while being tethered so he could be pulled out of the grave. As the D-class climbed further down, he felt a sensation of vertigo, as if gravity shifted vertically and needed to climb down to go up, which led to a parallel world similar to Tembe, but with no occupants. Going too far in a direction would reset the D-class to the opposite side of the town. Some elongated victims in this world were seen, as well as a mutated tree-like entity which was shown to be the missing researcher. But now in this form, the D-class tried to fire his gun at it, but to no effect, and was apparently killed by this creature. When the D-class was being pulled out, a very stretched out version of his arm began to come out of a mass grave. Dr. Lafayette, after detonating several explosives around the town, decided to go through the grave and exploring the imitation until finding another portal which they also went through, ending up in another imitation of Tembe. Lafayette proceeded to pass through different iterations of the town, becoming mentally affected by this, until seemingly researching the last iteration, which appeared to be unfinished and uninhabited except for a crying infant. Lafayette found the baby and attempted to comfort them, but as the child kept crying, the doctor decided to whisper them a story. Meanwhile, someone, probably SCP-783, who was previously crying, began laughing. This event would be erased from reality by SCP-7427. The true reasoning and method of SCP-783 choosing victims is unknown, as well as the extent of its anomalous properties. The true origins of the entity is unknown, though it is assumed through a playground nursery rhyme that the entity was once a man who simply made a bad deal by kidnapping a child, and then was punished himself by being tortured and broken on a wheel. Through the SCP's actions, it is likely this man is punishing others the way he was punished in the past. Because the SCP's crimes take place in Tembe, England, it can be assumed that that's where he was killed. SCP-783 is never seen or heard, though its actions show that it is unspeakably cruel, sadistic, and possibly even wrathful. The SCP will not simply kill its victims, but will leave them alive in their newly twisted and elongated forms to increase their suffering, showcasing the horrifying nature of SCP-783. If any truth can be taken from the rhyme associated with the SCP, it can be implied that the crooked man spoken of is replicating the nurture and pain of his death to others out of wrath and or just sick pleasure. I personally quite like the crooked man. Oh, that's going to happen. Thank you for not doing that while I was reading. I'm so sorry. That can't be helped. Alright, give me a moment while I pick up the second one. Next one coming up will be SCP-5040. Let me double check that this one's working. Sometimes the download files have been a little bit borked. This one may not be working, unfortunately. One moment. If I pause for long periods of time, just get comfortable. I'm going to re-download the second one here and skip to the third one for now. I don't know why it may not be working, unfortunately. Sometimes that happens. Let's move along with the third one, which will be SCP-847. I have to keep on readjusting the speed of all of these because they're either quite short or quite long, like we did last time. If you all are wanting to re-listen to these SCPs, each individual SCPs that I'm reading today will be on the YouTube channel individually. Double check that all this is here. Oh, interesting. Some of them seem to be broken, so if you guys don't mind me just double checking some of these. I wonder why. One moment. Sometimes that happens. This one seems to be just fine. That's right, last time that we spoke and last time that we did this, you had suggested that we keep the SCP on the top of the screen that we're talking about. Is that something you still want? Fantastic. I can do that. So what we'll do is the moment I start reading the CPs, I'll continue forward without breaking, and then in between I'll just kind of update the next ones. Sound good? Yep. Fantastic. SCP-4910. Now, which one was that? Ah, yes. The dentist. How many of you guys enjoy going to the dentist? I do, actually. I don't mind. I hate the dentist. Well, this dentist might change your mind. I will remind you, I did my best to pick out the most excruciating ones I could find. My dentist is hilarious. Well, I guess that's good. Went to an orthodontist for most of my youth, so I don't mind people doing things with my mouth. I could have been worded just a little bit more careful. But I suppose we run with it. Well, shall we begin? I messed up the file. There we go. Please play. What did I just do? How did I just mess that up? I did my fake typing and I pressed something that I shouldn't have. Please play. Okay, thank you. I'll do my fake typing here. SCP-4910. SCP-4910. Object Class Computer. Special Containment Procedures. The anomaly is currently at large. MTFE, Terrifying Black, is to respond to sightings. Lethal force against the entity has been authorized due to its infectious properties and low research potential. Victims likewise require indiscriminate termination. Operatives returning from deployment found to be grinning excessively, or who present multiple smiles, must be immobilized via firearm and doused in specialized hydrochloric chemical compound, HFPURE. Once the remaining pulp ceases animation, it may be transported off-site for incineration. Personnel are advised to seek medical attention if becoming afflicted after an encounter with an affected operative. Surgical intervention is effective in early stages, 1 to 2 hours. Pain management becomes impossible by the time lower body cavities develop, 3 to 4 hours. Description: predatory dental quadruped, 100 multi-continental sightings post-1886. Precise details unknown. Eyewitnesses invariably succumb to its effects, primarily the rapid overproduction of teeth, inhibiting their ability to verbalize intelligibly. Recording devices are instantaneously compromised via the manifestation of dentin and critical components. Artistic representation varies wildly, yet focuses exclusively on various amalgamations of teeth and the associated gingiva. SCP-4910 seems to be capable of differentiating between those unaware of its properties, typically civilians, whom it uses for sustenance, and those who specifically seek to either capture or harm it, such as personnel of both mundane and occult organizations, whom it targets for the purpose of esophageal replication. While similar in most respects to standard victims, those targeted for replication act as a vector for SCP-4910's anomalous properties. Previous 58 capture attempts unsuccessful, involving serious dental violence, internal bleeding, loss of life. 13 MTFE agents missing in action. 7 had data expunged, plaque since euthanized. Transformative auto cannibalization claimed 5. SCP-4910. I didn't know there was a dentist SCP. Yes, it looks like they eat themselves. Yeah, better place to put this. Maybe right here, it would be fine. Let's see how the other SCPs are doing. I will say number 2 in the lineup is probably one of my favorites, so I hope that it works. Yes. Oh boy, I am excited for this one. I had to find just the right pacing. When I read this SCP, goodness gracious, I was so excited. I'm gonna make it slower just a little bit. Let me double check on this SCP. This is SCP-5040. Oh, this one. This one. That's going to scare you, I think. I quite enjoy this one. Now you guys ready for the next one? You better get comfortable, because this one is a good one. SCP-5040. Special Containment Procedures. Foundation Web Crawler Kappa 08. Shinigami is to seek and suppress all references to SCP-5040 in online discussions and entertainment news. Antiemetic inoculations against the propagation of SCP-5040 are in development. Description: SCP-5040 is a non-existent Japanese horror film entitled Tears of Blood, which spontaneously manifests in human memories. Those affected by SCP-5040 will remember going to see the film even when their supposed attendance would contradict empirical evidence. SCP-5040 afflictions may occur in any place where movies are shown, including cultures where its content would usually be prohibited. Subtitles and/or dubbing will be used when appropriate. Descriptions of the film are always similar in nature, as are the circumstances and events surrounding the viewing. However, reports of SCP-5040's story and characters are never fully consistent, and the film's setting, subplots, character names, and much of the dialogue will be different for each viewer. Casting also varies and appears largely arbitrary. A broad variety of Japanese performers and entertainment personalities, both living and deceased, have been sent to star in the film, even when the actor in question has no real-life associations with the horror genre. Despite these differences, the film's beginning, climax, and ending consistently new to the same general plot. See Documentation 5040 Prime. After conducting more than 300 interviews, researchers have constructed a detailed synopsis of SCP-5040's most consistent story elements and the most common sequence of events associated with the viewer's memory of the screening attendance. See Document 5040 Prime. Addendum 5040 Prime. Screenings always begin at sunset. If subject had prior commitments for that day and time, they learn that the commitment was abruptly cancelled or resolved through unforeseen circumstances. The subject decides to spend their free time by seeing a movie at a local theater. Upon arrival, they see a large crowd gathered at the box office and learn the entire theater has been reserved for a special event. A one-time screening of a rare, critically acclaimed film. Admission is free. Drawn in by the excitement, the subject indulges their curiosity and gets in line for a ticket. Most seats are already occupied when the subject reaches the auditorium, but they find an empty space in the back. They notice that a large number of people throughout the audience wear disposable face masks, even if this practice is not common in the local culture. The woman who takes the seat next to the subject wears one such mask, as does the woman beside her. The remaining seats are quickly taken, but patrons continue to file in. By the time the lights dim, the audience completely fill the aisles and stairs, leaving the areas around the exit standing room only. An IV pole carrying a bag of unknown fluid may be seen protruding from the crowd, but with no clear indication who it is connected to. The subject might also notice that elsewhere in the theater, one of the mask's audience members wears a hospital gown. There are no trailers or advertisements before the film. The theater goes silent when it begins. The film opens with the female protagonist going about mundane activities in her day-to-day life. She is interrupted by a phone call from an unknown party who tells her that a loved one has been hospitalized. When the protagonist leaves her apartment to go to the hospital, she is attacked by a male assailant and loses consciousness. When the protagonist wakes up, she finds herself in an unfamiliar building with her arms and legs bound. She is accompanied by a number of other female captives, some of whom still remain unconscious. The women briefly discuss the possibility of an escape but are interrupted when the kidnapper appears. He sees one of the women crying and kills her without hesitation. The kidnapper explains that he intends to release the captives after 24 hours, but only under the condition that they do not cry. Throughout the film, the kidnapper exacts various forms of physical and psychological torture on the group. Despite their best efforts, captives prove unable to hold back their tears, and they are murdered one by one until only the protagonist remains. Frustrated by the protagonist's resolve, the kidnapper gradually escalates her torture. However, the protagonist only responds with rebukes, which angers the kidnapper even further. As the protagonist makes a speech against the kidnapper, the subject notices what seems to be a slight echo to the dialogue. They eventually realize that the two masked women sitting beside them are softly repeating every line of the dialogue as it occurs. If they look further, they will see that the lower half of the women's masks are saturated with saliva, and their hands are clasped together so tightly that their fingernails have begun to draw blood. At the film's climax, the kidnapper approaches the protagonist with a double-edged razor blade and announces that even if she is freed, she will spend the rest of her life horribly disfigured. This leads to an argument between the two, which touches on themes such as the nature of inner and outer beauty, the value of women in society, and the societal stigma against expressions of vulnerability. Eventually, the kidnapper loses patience, throws the protagonist to the floor, and grabs her face. From this point onward, the subject hears groans from unidentified members of the audience. Gripping the protagonist's lower lip between his thumb and forefinger, the kidnapper takes the razor blade and cuts a deep fissure from the corner of her mouth to her chin. He works the blade across her face using a rough sawing motion until her lower lip is partially amputated. He pauses to mock the protagonist, and she uses the opportunity to grab the razor from him with her teeth. Before the kidnapper can react, she slices his left eye open. The kidnapper screams as blood and vitreous humor spill from his face, allowing time for the protagonist to maneuver the razor to her fingers and cut through her bindings. Enraged and half blind, the kidnapper grabs the remaining flap of the protagonist's lower lip and pulls sharply, tearing it from her face along with a large strip of her right cheek. As the kidnapper expresses his satisfaction, the protagonist finishes freeing herself and slits the kidnapper's throat with the razor. Whereas the film's previous murders often differ between manifestations, all interviewees gave consistent descriptions of the violent climax and displayed a greater degree of clarity in their recollection of this scene than at any other point in the film. 80% of subjects also reported that the movie's climax was accompanied by a profound sense of dread, but did not attribute the feeling to the movie itself. The protagonist hurries to the exit as the kidnapper bleeds to death on the floor. Although her speech is impeded by her injuries, she pauses before leaving to mock the kidnapper one last time, calmly telling him that they cried tears of blood and therefore had to die according to his own rules. The film abruptly cuts to an unspecified point in the future. Now wearing a face mask to hide her disfigured mouth, the protagonist walks down the street to her apartment, indifferent to the crowd of paparazzi that follows her. When she finally reaches her bedroom, the protagonist slowly takes off her mask and looks at herself in the mirror. She stares in silence at the missing lower portion of her face and sheds a tear. Over the course of several minutes, her weeping gradually builds into frenzied sobs and shrieks. The film cuts to black and the credits roll, but the sound of the protagonist's cries continue to play with no other audio until the credit reel ends. The other audience members largely remain silent after the movie ends, exchanging only whispers as they exit the theater. The other audience members largely remain silent after the movie ends. Subjects have claimed to have seen small red puddles and stains on the theater floor. On their way out, those who remain past this point will experience an escalating feeling of unwelcomeness until they are driven to leave. SCP 5040. I really like that one. That's a hell of a way to clear a room. I'm inclined to agree. There's a few goodies today, I think. Friendly, welcome back for 7 months. Thank you so much earlier for someone that gifted a sub. I do appreciate it. Next one coming up is SCP-847. Let me double check. check this works okay. Looks like it does. Let's update the SCP 847. What did we think about that last one? Oh my goodness. Hi, Halo, sweetie. How was your day today? Hi. If you guys want to listen to a truly skilled ASMR artist, please go check out Halo, sweetie. I would appreciate it. If you are just tuning in, I have a little bit of a different take on ASMR. This is the second day at doing SCP ASMR readings. I've really been enjoying it. Making you feel comfortable, but a little uncomfortable at the same time. It's kind of my shtick. I hope you are enjoying. Gmart, I think that's probably the 10th person today to make that same exact joke. You guys must be on the same funny scale. Good morning, Gmart. I don't know how so many people have made the same joke. Oh no. Oh gosh. Okay. Halo, I can't live up to your greatness. Gmart, I'm just playing with you. Halo, no, I'm very nervous now. Oh my goodness. I think your audience would much prefer sweeter sounds. Oh no. Halo, thank you so much for rating the channel. I appreciate it. And Cheese, thank you so much for gifting that to Halo. Well, welcome on in. This is, I think, a complete opposite vibe, but if you're willing to give it a chance, maybe you will enjoy it. Halo turned us into brand new guinea pigs. What does that mean? I'm already wet with you. Why did I read that out loud? Oh. Well, okay. Oh, please go follow Halo. I have known Halo, or at least of Halo, for a very long time, and I'm very, very proud of her. Thank you so much for bringing your lovely community in here. If you're tuning in, we are doing SCP ASMR. If you're not really accustomed to horror or being uncomfortable, this might not be for you. SCPs are various different creatures of different kinds and classes, but today I specifically picked ones that are a little bit fucked up. How did you know thinking something lewd makes you less scary. Wait, did you know thinking something lewd? Really? Well, I hope you have a good rest of your day and evening. Congratulations on absolutely just being phenomenal. Very proud of you. And for the rest of you, please get comfortable. Close your eyes, relax. But maybe don't stay too long in the dark. The next SCP documentation. Item SCP-847. I actually think that this is messed up. I just began, but then I think it's broken. Can you guys give me 1 minute? 847, it's just number. One of my editors will export this documentation and sometimes it's not fully working. Let me try again. If it doesn't work, we can move on to the next one. But you guys stay comfy and hang on tight. If not, we can move on to the next one. Let's try this one. Okay, we're going to move along to SCP-153 and come back to the other one in just a moment. 153. I'm looking back in the documentation. 153 is roundworm. SCP-153. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. Specimens of SCP-153 are to be kept isolated in acid resistance containers measuring no less than 10 meters by 10 meters by 5 meters, partially filled with sewage and organic material at Bioresearch Area 12. Every 4 hours, both the level of organic content and the structural integrity of each container must be checked. Under no circumstances are these containers to be connected to any internal or external plumbing system. Specimens of SCP-153 almost certainly still exist in the wild. Any reports of people mysteriously disappearing from showers and bathtubs must be investigated immediately. Agents must be equipped with infrared and ultraviolet sensors to circumvent SCP-153's camouflage. Specimens should be brought alive to Area 12 if all possible. Description: SCP-153 appears to be a species of nematode roundworm that can reach up to redacted meters in length and redacted centimeters in diameter. Specimens of SCP-153 live in sewers and drain pipes, and while specimens of SCP-153 can live off of most any organic material, they prefer to consume animal tissue. Specimens of 153 excrete a highly acidic substance similar to redacted from their mouths and gullets, and they have the ability to camouflage themselves both outside and in. SCP-153 has developed a hunting technique where a specimen will swim up a shower or bathtub drain, dissolve the drain cover with its acidic saliva, and camouflage its gullet to look like a standard drain. Shortly after a human enters the shower or bathtub, the specimen, redacted, back down the drain, leaving almost nothing behind. This entire process usually takes less than redacted seconds. Addendum 51501. Specimens of SCP-153 are to be kept isolated from each other except under controlled breeding conditions. Dr. Kavolskaya. Addendum 15302. Incidents in redacted suggest that specimens of SCP-153 have started attacking people through sink drains, toilets. Redacted. Researchers are investigating how such an apparently simple animal can develop such relatively sophisticated hunting techniques. Addendum 15303. Dr. Kavolskaya has received approval to start breeding research program with SCP-153, with emphasis on genetic engineering. The program, redacted, as well as a potential method of organic waste disposal. Addendum 15304. A controlled release of SCP-153 instances have been proposed as a potential containment method for stalling the spread of SCP-2717. Approval pending. SCP-153. I guess there's an SCP that lives in the drains that can get us at any moment. You ever check the toilet before you sit down and then again turn around and look just in case something is inside? SCP-2717 is a giant horrible block of fat in the sewers, in case anyone was curious. Thank you. Thank you for that piece of information. Also, Corgi, welcome back for 4 months. Again, this is the second time we have done the SCP ASMR and we're still kind of finding our footing, but I think with every time we do this, it will get better. I'm really enjoying it a lot. Alright, looks like the next one coming up is SCP-428. SCP-428. The crowd. Welcome on in if you're just tuning in again. Massive thank you to Halo Sweetie. They've come such a long way in their career and I'm very, very proud of them. I'm new to your streams, but I'm loving this for some reason. Well, I'm happy to have you here. Welcome on in, everyone. Are you comfortable? Good. I'm glad. Mepho123, welcome to the community. I appreciate it. This is your first time listening to anything like this. I appreciate you giving it a try. Welcome on in, everyone. Please relax. Use your headphones. Maybe even close your eyes, if you so please. SCP-428. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-428 is to be contained in a 5-meter by 5-meter cell. The containment walls are to be electrified with 30,000 volts. Entrance to the cell via a corridor airlock and access to SCP-428 is restricted to level 3. Researchers and below, while escorted by 2 armed guards. Personnel are to be kept 2 meters minimum away from SCP-428 at all times. When not under research, 2 armed guards are to be on duty at all times. Due to SCP-428's effects, all D-Class personnel are to be screened for low IQs and skills that are deemed non-threatening to Foundation security or potential escape attempts. See Addendum 428A. A single D-Class personnel due for termination is to be offered once per month to keep SCP-428 satisfied. However, this will result in the need for an increase in containment space for a solution to keep SCP-428 neutralized in the future. Description: SCP-428 is in appearance a crowd of huddled human beings. As of 2012 Dactyl, it consists of 14 people. While huddled in a circle, SCP-428 is to be considered in a dormant state. In this state, the crowd moves with a gentle sway and can be heard audibly mumbling. Upon further inspection, the biological internals, organs, bones, muscles, and fluids, leaving only the skin, have been removed from each individual and replaced with an unidentified material that attaches to a central amorphous mass in the middle of the crowd via lengths of flesh similar to umbilical cords. The crowd will not move away from this mass unless a person comes within 2 meters of the central mass. At this point, the crowd will move into its hostile state. The people of SCP-428 closest to the person will attempt to grab and pull them into the middle of the crowd. After contact is made for more than 10 seconds, the person will become a new member of SCP-428. Their internal structures will be removed and replaced with the same material as the other members. Should the potential victim escape, SCP-428 will actively seek them or another potential victim out. It will attempt to absorb any and all human life within its immediate vicinity. When all human life has been absorbed, they will have become members of the crowd. It will return to its dormant state. If SCP-428 does not absorb a human after a maximum of 1 month, it will again actively seek them out. It will do this using a variety of different methods. This includes using acquired skills previously known by people it has absorbed. It will also use psychological tactics to lure people into its grasping distance. See Addendum 428A. Wounds inflicted upon SCP-428's crowd heal at an accelerated rate and do not hinder movement. SCP-428 has been proven to be highly resilient. For instance, a bullet to the leg of a member of the crowd will become lodged, but will not affect the individual's movement, and beyond the substance seeping through, the hole will close up within a few days. However, wounds inflicted upon SCP-428's central mass will cause a great deal of pain to the crowd. This will cause the crowd to collapse in apparent agony, and SCP-428 will retreat from the cause of the injury, using the crowd to protect itself. This has since been used to herd SCP-428 back into containment. Should a connection between SCP-428 and a member of the crowd be severed, it will excrete the substance within it through all its natural orifices. Sample is currently being studied and the remains have been incinerated. Note: SCP-428 is a hive mind. It therefore does not have the hindrance of movement that would be expected of a sizable crowd. It is able to move a large distance in a relatively short amount of time. It is only limited by the slowest member of the crowd at running speed. SCP SCP-428 appears to maintain some of the memories, skills, and talents of the people it absorbs and is willing to use these skills to gain further members. Addendum 428A on redacted before the current containment procedures, SCP-428 managed to pick the lock of its cell using a hairpin and belt buckle. From members of the crowd, it then positioned a female of the group slumped in front of the door, sobbing loudly. Researcher redacted, who was unaware of SCP-428's properties, approached the woman and was abruptly grabbed by the rest of the group. SCP-428 proceeded to move through the facility using researcher redacted as a frontman, resulting in redacted casualties before the containment breach was alerted and SCP-428 was re-contained. Researchers' comments. People, these casualties are gone. They are SCP-28 now. No matter what it might say or do, they are not your work colleagues nor your friends anymore. Remember this, it may save your life. SCP-428. I held in a sneeze at the end, and I think I pursed one of my brain cells in the process. The sneeze is stuck forever now. And it was a good one. I enjoyed it. How are you guys liking the CPs today? Don't worry, if you don't know what SCP we're on, it's on the top of the screen. Let me do a quick check here. 783. These in-between moments between SCPs is giving me a moment to continue to get the rest of the SCP information, so please be patient. There is a new 3 that I downloaded. Should be correct. Interesting. I will download 3 once more and hopefully it's not broken, but it might just be, unfortunately. SCP, the third one I have is the human mannequin, and it is so good. Yes, unfortunately, I think it is broken. So give me one moment. Maybe we can have it re-uploaded. Sometimes those things happen, and that's okay. We've continued on to the dentist, roundworm, the crowd. How about we do Bubble the clown? It's short and sweet. Give you a little bit of a palate cleanser before we move on to something a little bit more sinister than just a clown. Yes. It's always a little touchy how to figure out which speed I like for which one. Alright, just a little bit quicker than this. Okay. If you don't know which SCP we're discussing at the time, please feel free to look above. You end up forgetting. Let's talk a little bit about SCP-993. Item number SCP-993. Object class safe. Special containment procedures. Any broadcasts of SCP-993 are to be intercepted as detailed in Protocol Upsilon Beta 3 and blocked from public viewing. All intercepted broadcasts are to be recorded and stored for future viewing. Any subjects used to view SCP-993 must be under the age of 10 and are to be dosed with a Class A amnesiac after they have described the episode. Viewing of SCP-993 must be authorized by 3 Level 4 personnel. Description: SCP-993 is a children's television program entitled Bubble the Clown, which first began airing in Redacted 19, Redacted. SCP-993 seems to have been made in the style of an educational cartoon, with the primary plot of most episodes being the titular character Bubble the Clown learning a new skill or activity. The program appears to have no supporting cast, and the setting of the program often changes between episodes. SCP-993's anomalous properties become obvious when the program is viewed. Anyone watching aged 10 or older will immediately fall unconscious when the program begins and will remain incapacitated until the end of the program. Later reported a stabbing headache immediately before blacking out. Children under the age of 10 viewing SCP-993 later report that it teaches and advocates activities such as cannibalism, murder, torture, and redacted. These activities appear to become ingrained in the subject's mind. Repeated exposure to SCP-993 can result in permanent psychotic and schizophrenic symptoms. Episodes of SCP-993 are regularly broadcast from a currently unknown source, but since Redacted 20 Redacted, all broadcasts have been successfully intercepted using Protocol obsolete beta 3 and blocked from public viewing. SCP-993. We are currently on the case, trying to figure out why SCP Human Mannequin seems to not be working. Suika is on the case. No, it seems to be that it is broken, but that's okay. We have just finished reading Bubble the Clown. Next up, My Face That I May Be, SCP-715. I'm reading this a lot quicker than I anticipated. Now, alongside with The Crooked Man and this one, the wiki on SCP was a bit different. So the layout of this might be different than what you are used to. But please, be comfortable, relax, and enjoy nonetheless. For those of you just tuning in, the in-between times are me setting up, so just be a little patient. Again, this is SCP-715. Let me be sure I have the information and documentation ready to go. One moment. Welcome to SCP-715. Warning: the following file is subject to level 715 classification. Part of this document may not be accessible without the proper security clearance. Special containment procedures. Outdated. One moment. SCP-715 is to be contained at its point of origin within the Redacted City Mall in Redacted, Ohio. Remote surveillance of SCP-715 has been authorized, and any images produced by SCP-715 are to be collected by Foundation personnel posing as mall employees. These images are to be returned to Site-81 for further examination. Theater Class Containment Procedure Amendment. Outdated. SCP-715 is to be contained within a maximum security large item locker at Site 19. Access to SCP-715 is limited to personnel with 7154 special clearance or above. Under no circumstances are any personnel, regardless of classification level, to enter or activate SCP-715 in any way. Examination of the interior of SCP-715 is to be done remotely controlled by drone only. Instances of SCP-715-B are considered Class 5 cognohazardous entities and due to their nature cannot be properly identified without the use of optical enhancement technology. Instances of SCP-715-B are to be terminated immediately upon identification using whatever means necessary. Safe Class Containment Procedure Amendment SCP-715 is to be contained within a maximum security storage locker at Site 81. No other containment procedures are currently necessary. Foundation personnel are restricted from any interaction with any known instance of SCP-715-B. Information regarding Site 81-715 is on a need-to-know basis. Administrators with the proper security clearance may view this information at the end of this file. Description: SCP-715 is a take-your-own photo mat model photo booth manufactured by the Sony Corporation in 1972. SCP-715 displays no anomalous characteristics in its design or appearance. A small metal tag has been added to the backside of the machine, but significant wear has obscured any text contained on the log. SCP-715 will not activate unless an individual sits within the main booth area and inputs the necessary tokens into the activation slot, has been known to animate sporadically, producing images believed to be modified from the previous shots. The impetus behind the activity is currently unknown, although research is ongoing. Images produced by SCP-715 are often heavily distorted. The reason for this is currently unknown. Individuals exiting the SCP-715 are to be classified as SCP-715-B instances and do not appear outwardly anomalous. SCP-715-A instances are currently contained within Site 81-715. Research into the nature of these instances is currently pending approval restricted. SCP-715-A instances. Data restricted. See below. Site 81-715 Protocol. Access restricted. Access granted. Warning: Top secret. Foundation Site 81-715 Protocol utilized in accordance to standards developed by Site 19 Director, Site 81 Director, and Overwatch Command. The following protocol has been established in order to maintain the safety and security of Site 81-715 and the personnel therein. Location? Redacted. City Mall in Redacted, Ohio. Security level. Delta description of location. Site 81715 is believed to be an extra-dimensional space situated below the Redacted City Mall in Redacted, Ohio. This space is accessible via Service Door 1, located on the southwest wall of Sub-Basement 3. The space within is a large, cavernous room containing a deep pit. The interior of the space appears to have been cut out of surrounding limestone. The walls of the pit are composed of a currently unknown biological substance, similar to human fat tissue. The walls of this pit constantly secrete a strong corrosive substance, making access into the pit particularly dangerous. Upon activation of SCP-715, an instance of SCP-715-A will appear within this pit. These instances are typically similar to the subject who has just used SCP-715, with the exception of major facial abnormalities, including extensive lacerations, large growths to the point of unrecognizability, or the absence of facial features at all. Instances of SCP-715-A will attempt to scale the walls of the pit, digging into the fleshy tissue for support. These instances are currently considered hostile, and Foundation security personnel stationed at Site 81715 are authorized to dispatch these instances with as much force as necessary. Research into the nature of SCP-715-A instances is ongoing. It is currently unknown how many instances of SCP-715-A exist within the pit. Addendum 715-A. Access restricted. Warning, top secret. SCP-715 reclassification briefing. The inconsistencies with SCP-715-B instances were first brought to our attention after researcher Gerald Patton tested SCP-715 himself. It was noted in his personnel file that shortly after this incident, researcher Patton turned down a request to transfer to SCP-2090 project, a position that would have allowed researcher Patton more freedom in his research than the SCP-715 project, as well as allowing more vacation time and a higher pay grade. This was noted as unusual, but was otherwise ignored. Sometime later, during a routine sweep of Site 81 for reality-bending anomalies, researcher Patton did not appear for inspection, despite the sweep being mandatory for all staff members at that site. Due to the large number of personnel proceeded in this procedure, again, this was largely overlooked. It was not until Site 81 research head Dr. Agatha Wrights began processing personnel information that these behaviors became apparent. It was noted in Dr. Wright's initial report that both the relocation to the SCP-2090 project and the personnel sweep would have subjected researcher Patton to technology designed to detect reality distortions. In both instances, researcher Patton managed to avoid being put in these positions. Following up with the report, Dr. Wrights had a Fullman Breaker anomalous optical enchantment device discreetly rigged in researcher Patton's quarters. After processing the information gathered from the footage, it became evident that our understanding of SCP-715 was flawed. To be frank, we've even been killing the wrong subjects. The collected footage showed that when put through a filter designed to remove local anomalous effects, researcher Patton appeared to be one of the creatures we've seen within the pit at Site 81715. There is no record of researcher Patton ever gaining access to Site 81715 or even being aware of its existence, thanks to in large part to the previous administration's secrecy campaign regarding that area. So it was unknown how an instance of SCP-715A could have escaped our security. Then we used the same devices to observe the instances of SCP-715A within Site 81715, and, well, they're humans. They're all humans. They're not like those things they appear to be when we look at them. They're human beings, and they've been trying to tell us, but we can't understand them, so we've been shooting them. In our haste, we quickly upgraded the classification to Keter and began attempting to collect all of the SCP-715B instances we were aware of. We managed to get an interview in with the one that looks like researcher Patton as well. Due to the information recovered from this interview, we've resigned to the classification upgrade and locked SCP-715 in a secure vault. The current status for this project is pending. We're not going to acknowledge the problem anymore, and we're not going to be looking for B instances. We haven't been able to verify the Patton instance's claims, but if there are many of these running around as we think there are, it would be better for normalcy if we just let them be for now. At least until we can figure out what they want. As for the A instances, let's just consider the protocol listed above null until we can figure out something better. We've been advised that it would be not wise to remove them from Site 81715. As unfortunate as this is, it is our current plan. Assistant Dr. Weaving, Site 81. SCP-715. That one was a little confusing for me, but interesting nonetheless, I think. What did you think? Did you like that one? I'm really excited about the next one. The next one is Body Harvester. Oof. Oof. That's a good one. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. Oh. Boy, I really like SCPs. I would have thought this was going to be a long one. This one was 9 SCPs as compared to 4 last time, but we're just barely hitting 2 hours. I can always try again next time. And maybe by the time this one is finished, we will get the human mannequin up and going. Yes, it's been 2 hours. Does it not feel like it? Are you that comfortable? I'm glad that you're enjoying. That's my #1 co-host. Ensure that you're so comfortable that time just escapes. What does that mean? Sometimes I get 5 scrotum comfy positions a day. Chat. Why are you like this? Of course I had to read it. Why wouldn't I? I don't know what that means. A little leapy. That's okay. I like being comfortable. 5172. The body harvester. This one's a nice one. Shred Senpai, thank you so much for joining the community. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Shall we begin? SCP 5172. Social media SMS and telephone traffic are to be monitored for mention of ice machines from devices connected to Hotel 1 Wi-Fi networks within North America. Due to the prevalence of false memories related to SCP-5172, no attempt at correcting public beliefs pertaining to hotel ice machines is to be undertaken at this time. Research is focused on uncovering memes and anti-memes that may counter or remove such widespread false memories. Containment is to focus on the detection and disruption of Zalmana events. See Addendum 2 for more information. MTFMU-9 weary travelers will be dispatched to the location of suspected Zalmana events in progress to remove detected instances of SCP-51721 and bring specimens back for further examination. All ice machines found at locations affected by SCP-5172 are to be removed and relocated to Site 30. Foundation personnel whose work requires them to stay in hotels in North America are to be briefed on SCP-5172. Personnel will be provided with the materials indicated in Addendum 4, North American Hotel Protocol for Foundation personnel. Description: SCP-5172 is a phenomenon that affects guests at North American hotels. Affected individuals will perceive a machine that serves the sole function of dispensing ice. These ice machines, while otherwise non-anomalous, are typically located in the hallway of the guest's floor, in close proximity to an elevator lobby or a storage closet. Ice machines are not common amenities in North American hotels. In fact, they do not appear in any contemporary hotels outside of those affected by SCP-5172. Nonetheless, a false memory of having perceived an ice machine is estimated to affect roughly 80% of the North American population. See Addendum 1 for more information. Individuals who perceive and then use these ice machines will initiate a Zalmler effect. This is likely to cause an instance of SCP-51721 to materialize, and it is very likely to result in the individual's injury or death. Addendum 1. History of hotel ice machines. In the 1950s, Holiday Inn founder Canon Williams attempted to distinguish his hotel chain from competitors by offering more amenities to travelers free of charge. Standard practice among hotels at the time was to charge travelers an additional fee if they requested ice. Williams believed that leaving out an ice machine for guests to freely use would be a welcome amenity. The expense incurred by purchasing this equipment and other amenities was not offset by a sufficient increase in customers. As such, the practice was discontinued by the mid-1960s. Ice is now readily available in many North American hotels through in-room miniature refrigerator ice dispensers or included in ice trays. Using or consuming ice found in these contexts has not been shown to cause or have any connection to the SCP-5172 phenomenon. Despite the fact that hotel ice machines only existed for a brief period, members of the public in Canada, the United States, and Mexico widely hold the belief that these machines are ambiguous to this day. Empirical testing has consistently demonstrated that hotel ice machines do not exist outside of those associated with SCP-5172. Only about 40 ice machines associated with the phenomenon are recovered per year. Yet a poll of the general public found that 82% of adults recalled memories of seeing a hotel ice machine. Those who had stayed in hotels in the last year, 33% reported memories of having used said machine without incident. The source of these false memories, as well as their method of transmission, are still under investigation. Discovery: SCP-5172 was discovered in 1973 when Foundation personnel responded to what appeared to be a series of unsolved murders occurring at hotels in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Extensive testing inside of the hotels led researchers to discover the false memory related to ice machines. The investigation led to the placement of hidden cameras in each of the hotel's rooms. Evidence collected here uncovered the connection between the ice machines, the SCP-5172 phenomenon, and Zalmunna events. Addendum 2. Zalmunna effects. Initialization. The Zalmunna event is triggered when a hotel guest, after the target, perceives and subsequently uses a hotel ice machine. At this point, the only way to terminate the event is to leave the building and sleep in a private residence. The ice does not actually need to be used or consumed for the event to progress. Stalking behavior and/or hallucinations. The target will almost immediately begin to perceive an individual or individuals watching them from elsewhere in the hotel. Typically, these individuals first appear on the far end of the hallway where the Zalmunna event was initiated. Third-party observers are unable to perceive any individuals observing the target. Attempts to seize, record, or photograph the individuals supposedly watching the target have not produced evidence of their existence. Accordingly, the watchers are believed to be hallucinations. Descriptions of the individuals are fragmentary and do not show any consistent traits. Confusion and fatigue. Within 2 hours of event initialization, the target will display symptoms similar to those seen in early stage dementia. If the target does not immediately return to their hotel room, they begin to demonstrate signs of confusion, difficulty completing everyday tasks, and short-term memory loss. After 2 hours have elapsed, the target also begins to feel gradually increasing sense of fatigue. Within 4 hours of event initialization, the fatigue typically reaches the point that it becomes difficult or dangerous for the target to perform activities such as driving or swimming. Zalmunna event survivors report feeling as if their mind is too active to fall asleep anywhere other than in a hotel bed. This typically leads the target to seek out their hotel room. In spite of this sensation, the target is not compelled to follow this course of action. The target may still seek out a bed located in a private residence if they are aware it is an option. Targets will not fall asleep outdoors or in public places, but will experience the standard health consequences associated with increasing sleep deprivation. Targets can only fall asleep in hotels or private residences. If they do fall asleep in a private residence, the event is terminated. See Addendum 4. Sleep. When the target does reach a hotel bed, they immediately enter the hypnagogic state associated with the normal transitional period between wakefulness and sleep. Under normal conditions, the room's temperature begins to drop until it reaches approximately 11 degrees Celsius. 51.8 degrees Fahrenheit. After a brief period of hypnagogia, the target proceeds as normal through the sleep cycle until they enter slow wave sleep. This typically occurs within 1 hour of laying in bed. Appearance of SCP-5171. An instance of SCP-51721 appears after the target enters slow wave sleep. It will gradually phase through the door connecting the target's hotel room to the hallway. SCP-51721 is not perceptive to a person who's in the room with the target at the time of this entry, but can be observed through cameras and other devices. The target returns to the hypnagogic state but is unable to move. This results in a condition resembling sleep paralysis. SCP-5171 crawls towards the bed on all fours before assuming a sitting position on the target's chest. SCP-51721 inserts a thin, proboscis-like appendage into one or both of the target's eye sockets for several seconds. This does not cause physical damage, but it is theorized to be a way for SCP-51721 to transmit a paralytic agent or other substance to the target's brain to aid in a harvesting process that follows. Harvesting behavior. After retracting the appendage, SCP-51721 opens its own chest cavity and retrieves a pair of unidentified tools. It then begins applying the tools and extracting cubes measuring approximately 4 centimeters by 4 centimeters by 4 centimeters, 1.57 inches from the target's body. The cubes may be consistent of tissue, muscle, bone, semi-solid blood, or a combination thereof. SCP-51721 uses the tools in a cutting and scooping motion, which appears to make all of these organic substances equally easy for it to collect. That is, bone is no more difficult to cut through than any other organic matter of the target. Each cube is placed into SCP-51721's open chest cavity before it repeats the process and collects another cube. The chest cavity is capable of containing more matter than its appearance would suggest. SCP-51721's motions during harvesting begin slowly, collecting cubes at a rate of about 2 per minute. It gradually increases its pace until it is collecting approximately 50 cubes per minute. SCP-51721 typically completes the harvesting process after 2 to 3 hours of activity. After completion, SCP-51721 returns to the hallway door and phases into it, dematerializing. Survival of Zolmuna event. Restricted to clearance levels 4 and above only. Security level 4 clearance and above only. Addendum 3. SCP-51721 is an individual instance of a humanoid entity approximately 122 centimeters, 48 inches in height, and 28.6 kilograms, 63 pounds in weight. Its arms are about twice the length of what would normally be expected of a human of these dimensions. It also has pronounced frontal and parietal bones, creating the appearance of an elongated forehead. The proboscis-like appendage measures approximately 90 centimeters, 35.4 inches, and extends and retracts from the mouth on the instance's base. If a Zaluma event is interrupted by an individual's sudden entry into the hotel room, the SCP-5171 instance will cease harvesting and attempt to attack the individual. Its strength is comparable to that of a human of its stature, but the tools that SCP-51721 uses during harvesting are capable of cutting through protective gear, causing serious injury. While it is not partially strong, it is capable of moving at an advanced speed as it approaches the end of the harvesting process. Extreme caution is advised for personnel attempting to neutralize an SCP-51721 instance that has almost completed a harvesting process. If multiple people enter the room during the harvesting process, SCP-51721 will attempt to hide from sight. If it can escape the sight of all people in the room, the SCP-51721 instance will dematerialize. 51721 has several biological systems analogous to that of humans. Accordingly, it can be killed through the application of force that would typically be lethal for humans, such as stabbing or gunshots. Autopsies of recorded specimens show that SCP-51721 has circulatory systems through the central circulatory organ akin to a heart, is located in the head. As a result, SCP-51721 can expire from blood loss or sufficient head trauma. SCP-51721 does not appear to have respiratory or digestive organs. Recovered instances may process male or female reproductive organs. These organs are misshapen and diminutive, corresponding to symptoms of human hypogonadism. These organs are likely vestigial, having no role in the reproduction of SCP-51721 instances. Killing an SCP-51721 instance but leaving an ice machine in a hotel under the effect of SCP-5172 means that future Zalmana events can still occur on the premises. Efforts to capture a live SCP-51721 instance have thus far been unsuccessful. Instances that do not have their hands bound are capable of spontaneously materializing their tools and cutting their way through containment chambers. Instances whose hands are bound or are otherwise rendered incapable of using its tools die within several minutes. Similarly, the instance's tools disappear upon death. Research is underway regarding alternatives for close-up live study of SCP-51721 specimens. Addendum 4. North American Hotel Protocol for Foundational Personnel. Foundation personnel whose duties require them to stay in hotels are required to familiarize themselves with documentation surrounding SCP-5172. A log of confirmed SCP-5172 manifestations will be made available to personnel whose duties require regular hotel stays. All personnel staying in hotels will be given single-purpose communication devices for reporting suspected SCP-5172 phenomena. Awareness of SCP-5172 is not enough to avoid triggering a Zalmana event. Several Foundation personnel as hotel guests have found themselves absent-mindedly using an ice machine, despite being fully aware of the consequences. Personnel who have triggered a Zalmana event must report it to command immediately in order to receive instructions for extraction. Personnel are not permitted to return to the hotel rooms without express approval from command. If feasible, personnel will be given directions to a nearby Foundation safe house where they can fall asleep in a way that terminates the Zalmana event. As a final precaution, all personnel staying in hotels are required to wear heart rate monitors at all times while on the hotel premises. In the event that personnel initiate a Zalmana event and are unable to notify command prior to falling asleep, algorithmic detection of sudden increase in heart rate can be used to detect a Zalmana event in its early stages. Command will be notified of heart rate irregularities and dispatch the nearest available MTF if personnel do not respond to communications. MTF response will occur in any situation where it is possible for a team to arrive prior to the completion of the Zalmana event. Update 2021-111. As of 2021, one confirmed instance of SCP-5172 has been located in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Foundation personnel have recovered an ice machine and human remains indicative of a completed Zalmana event. This is the first known instance of SCP-5172 to occur outside of North America. Notably, the Netherlands had no prior public perception of ice machines as a common hotel amenity. At present, it is unclear if this is an isolated incident or if signals that the anomaly is in the process of spreading to another location. All available Site-30 resources are being shifted into investigating the possible reasons for SCP-5172's spread. Countering or mitigating the spread is now considered highest priority for 5172 research team personnel. SCP-5172. I'm trying really hard to talk quietly because I know that it's not a 3DO mic, which already makes it seem and capture the feeling of whispering. But in talking quietly, I have to take longer, bigger breaths to reaffirm to speak gently. So I really hope that I'm able to catch myself if I'm speaking a bit too loudly. I also realized that because this is live and I haven't exactly read through all of it, these are like blind reads. Sometimes I'll read the word wrong or mispronounce it. So thank you for being patient with me. I do appreciate it. I'm going to check one more time if 3 is available, but if not, we might have to leave it until next time. Yeah, looks like it, but that's okay. How did you feel about the SCP ASMR readings this week? Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. For any of those that are just coming in, just tuning in, not knowing exactly what's happening, once a week, particularly Mondays, which will resume not this coming week, but the following on Mondays, we do SCP readings. If you have missed any of it, or you want to hear it again, don't even worry about relying on the VOD unless you need it right away. We're in the process of uploading to the YouTube channel every individual ASMR SCP reading on its own in its own video with a corresponding thumbnail to its relevance. We have had a backlog already ready to go, and as of today, we have started to release and announce everything that has been worked on the past month, if not more, to the YouTube channel. If you could please type !YouTube and head on over there, I would like nothing more but to you please subscribe to the channel. There's so much available for you. We have a very large backlog of completed full-length edited videos by Gosifer of old streams that we had in the past that were very fun, that are finished, completed, and being uploaded. There will be one full edited video per week and 1 to 2 SCP ASMR videos uploaded on the channel per week. We have worked hard enough and long enough to ensure that this timeline will be exact every week. YouTube channel is revamped and reborn. So if you want to refer back to any of those moments that you enjoyed on the channel, from gaming to something that you would just like to tune into, put on and relax, please keep up with the YouTube channel. I would really appreciate that. It looks beautiful. Mars has been working very hard on making unique thumbnails not only for the games, but for the SCP ASMR readings. And I'm very excited for you to see them. They look phenomenal. I absolutely love them, and I think that you will too. Today, the newest upload is High Rise. Last year I played with Gmar and Tomatoes, so if you missed it, I think you're going to really enjoy that one. And if you just want to tune in for the ASMR readings, look no further, because each individual one, like I said, will be uploaded with time, so please turn on the notification bell, subscribe, and tune in. I would really appreciate it. The whole team is working very, very hard for your enjoyment. Your YouTube brought me here. If you're from YouTube, I think you're extra special, so thank you so much. It's nice to meet you. If you don't subscribe to my YouTube, you might regret it. So please, do as you're told. For now, that is the end of the SCP list that I have, unfortunately, so hopefully you will look forward to the coming SCP ASMR readings Not this Monday, but the following, and we will get back to a normal Monday SCP readings. Tomorrow, Unfiction is back. If you like Resident Evil type creatures, tomorrow you are in for a treat. It is an hour-long SCP that we will be diving into, and I am very excited. So if you liked being cozy and comfy today, come back tomorrow at 11 a.m. PST for Unfiction. And if you even enjoy that, please go follow my Twitter, and I will be posting the entirety of next week's schedule. It's going to be a very fun-filled horror week, so I am very much looking forward to it. If you are new and stuck around from Halo Sweetie, it is lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for tuning in and sticking around. And if you're from my community, hell, even a regular, I appreciate your support on the channel. I'm going to go see who else is doing some ASMR and continue the cozy. Let's see. I particularly do not like ear licking. It makes me want to throw up. So unfortunately, I will be doing my best to avoid that at all costs, if that is okay. I'm going to do my best on ASMR days to not completely throw you out of your element for those that want to continue to be cozy and comfy. Boy, is it hard to find someone not absolutely sticking their entire tongue in an eardrum. I'm going to find one.
We give golden patats, they give booty.
I might have found one. Let's continue to look. He's short, he's difficult. What? I'm sorry that I am just a little bit sensitive. I think I've found a wonderful one that you might like. If you want to continue to relax, this seems like an absolutely phenomenal channel. Why don't we go on over there and continue to be cozy, relax. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for giving me another chance. I will do my best to have more ASMR prepared next week. I'd assume this one might be a little bit longer, but I will try once again. I'll see you tomorrow with a wonderful Unfiction stream, and I look forward to watching some disturbing footage with you together tomorrow, so please don't miss it. Goodbye everyone, have a